Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to our next interview. I'm excited today because we're going to be talking about what it takes to really lead a revolution in the supplements industry. I'm really excited that we're talking about this because for many of us who are vegan, and maybe even some of you who are potentially going vegan listening to this podcast, one of the challenges when it comes to supplements is there's just so many animal products in there. And in many cases, we aren't aware. Like if you haven't done a ton of research or you don't have a buddy who's like, wait a minute, be careful when you buy that because they don't list it on the label. They don't tell you that could be from animals. And I feel like for many of us, this is a topic that's not only near and dear to our hearts, but this is something where many of you who have started businesses, when you've created businesses, you've jumped into these spaces that feel like industries that are dominated by either certain groups or certain common practices. And I think one of the things that I'm excited about talking about today is how do we change those common practices? How do vegan businesses really kind of disrupt industries, but in a good way? And I'm excited about having our guest today, Maria Cebrian, who's going to be talking about what she's done, how she's disrupted, and some campaigns and things that they're working on to really help us as consumers, but also as many of you who are entrepreneurs and listening to this, get perspective on what it takes to build successful businesses. Our guest today has run multiple businesses, so it's exciting to hear that background, and I'm going to ask a ton of questions about what it's like and experience and so forth. But let me get out of this intro because I could talk all day about our guest and get an opportunity to have Maria to at least say hello and then maybe give us a little bit of background. So, Maria, it's so great to have you here today.
Yes, so nice to be here with you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me and for this interview. I'm very excited.
Absolutely. So, before we get into everything that's going on today, let's take me back in time. Let's talk about at least let's talk about the current business, and I'll ask another question about your background. But let's talk about Terraseeds, and let's talk about how you came up with the idea and what really drove you and said that, hey, this is an industry I need to be in. This is an industry that vegans need to be active in, and why you had that calling, and obviously give everyone any background on the business as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, this is really a long story, I guess. You know how things in life like pile up and take you in one direction, and one day you
Yes.
look back and it's like, oh my God, I've done all this to come to this point, right? So that's been my story with Terraseed a little bit. So this is my third company. After selling my second company, that it was a yoga meditation online platform, I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and with my family, and I became fully vegan at that time. So basically, I have been a vegetarian for many years. I always thought about going vegan, but I was a little bit afraid of missing nutrients because I'm a mountain runner, long
Mm,
distance mountain runners, and I do a lot of like races, and I train a lot. And I was worried, like maybe if I go fully vegan, I will be missing some key nutrients. Like I was worried. So when I decided to go fully vegan, I said, okay, let's find some supplements and let's make sure like all my nutritional needs are met. And I went to a shop and I was like, oh my God, like I hate all these supplements. They are all packaged in plastic. And then I started reading, and what you were mentioning before, like a lot of these supplements are made with animal derived ingredients. I was like, that's not in the label. That's not, like how could I know?
yeah.
I thought like this experience is the worst ever for a vegan person. And that's how I came up with the idea. Like, let's build like the most amazing multivitamin for vegans that brings that experience. Sorry, that's my phone. I forgot to switch off my phone. I'm just going to do it now. Sorry
Oh, no
about
worries. That's the fun part about doing a live session.
that. So yeah, I decided to build like the most amazing experience for a vegan when it comes to supplements. And of course, building the most complete formulation in the market, making sure, I think for a lot of vegans, it's really hard to figure out like the nutritional, not nutritional needs, but how to build like a proper diet and how to get
Mhm.
all the nutrients you need. So we thought, okay, let's build something that will cover all the basics, the basic nutritional needs. And from there, people can start like building up their habits, their diets. Um, but let's just give them that peace of mind, when it comes to nutrition. So that's how everything started. And it's been a journey. Oh my God, it's been amazing. It's been a roller coaster. I suppose like the most challenging part is being like building something that is totally different from what you can find in the market.
Yes.
And, not only using all vegan ingredients. I don't know if listeners know this, but a lot of ingredients in supplements come from animals. A lot of them. They are made with animal byproducts like tendons and bones and fat, from pigs, cows, chicken, like all kinds of animals. And then, of course, like omega-3s normally come from fish. And it takes up to 100 fish to create one single pill bottle of omega-3s. It's crazy.
Yeah.
After building Terraseed, I wanted to know, like, what is the real impact of the supplement industry on the environment and the animals. So
Mhm.
we created this report that is online, and you can find it in my website in terraseed.com, where we found that the US supplement industry contributes to the killing of 24 billion animals every year. Most of them are
Wow.
fish. Crazy, like crazy.
Yeah.
And then the same industry creates 1.8 billion plastic pill bottles. So it was so appalling that it was, oh my God, this is going to become our mission, to stop animal suffering and plastic pollution in this industry. And like everything about this product is so unique, not just like the fact that we don't use any animal derived ingredients, but also every single ingredient in our formula is sustainably sourced. And that means, for example, omega-3 and like I can go on,
Well,
like on.
I'll jump in real quick for a couple of things.
Yeah,
Number one thing I love about what you're doing is I think it's really a case for everyone in all diets and any kind of really walk of life. We can all be short of nutrients. You know what I mean? Just for different reasons. Sometimes it's our environment, sometimes it's, even sometimes the way we were raised. And then sometimes, as we get older, certain things we're just not getting. So I think it's really exciting what you're doing because you not only create an avenue for vegans, but you create an avenue for everyone to get a product that has a transparency around it so they know exactly what they're putting in their body. But you're also creating a product that's not just sometimes those byproducts. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes I find that the supplement industry is really kind of like the waste products, meaning it's the products that are because of another primary product. These items are now just kind of shoved into our supplements. And therefore, you're not obviously getting animals are getting hurt. And I don't want that to happen. But I also think that a wider audience of people want the best quality
Mm.
of the nutrients, the supplements that you're getting. Because the point of supplementing is getting quality, not just kind of this idea of a byproduct of another process. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely. I think this industry lacks a lot of transparency and a lot of scientific approach when it comes to supplements, not only the ingredients, but the formulations. And these days, a lot of supplements are made from off the shelf formulation that you can buy ready made and just put your sticker, put it in a retail store, and that's
Mhm.
it, right? Like,
Yes,
um, it's true there is a reputation for these supplement for this industry. I think things are changing,
which is good.
fortunately. Yeah, which is really good because consumers are demanding more transparency and more certainty that their supplements they are taking are sourced sustainably from clean ingredients. They want to know, where is this coming from, what country, where, like how was produced. And I think a lot of new brands like Terraseed and other brands, we are all making the effort to be fully transparent and to only work with clean, sustainable ingredients. So, for example, omega-3 that we mentioned normally comes from fish. Our
Hmm.
omega-3 comes from microalgae grown indoors in South Carolina in a very controlled environment.
Hmm.
So we know it's only the highest quality of algae and it's controlled. There's no impact on any marine ecosystems. So everything is very clean and very sustainable, like the whole process of getting that ingredient. In fact, fish take omega-3 from algae. So they are like a middleman, if you want. And
Yeah.
we're killing all these fish, to get
Yes.
algae that, or to get omega-3 that normally comes from algae. So, like it's all from a cost efficiency point of view. The industry is trying to get the sources of all these ingredients from very cheap sources, and that's why in the past it's been like a mess. To your point, is something that most consumers are not aware of, and there's no like a lot of like regulation from the FDA. I think they're making more efforts to bring more norms and more regulations to this industry, but today, like I think it's just
It's,
easy to
yeah.
just not be transparent, and
Yeah.
not being forced to be transparent.
And I think that's the challenge. When you have an industry that has been around for a long time, there becomes these kind of status quos or the norm, even though
Mhm.
that norm is still not best for the consumer and definitely not best for the animals. Now, we did have Elsa stop by. I'm just going to pop this up on the screen because when I was doing the intro, Elsa was saying, we definitely need all kinds of revolutions for sure. And she was mentioning that Gabriel Cousins has some supplements as well. So it's always great to know that we're seeing more and more people jump in this space. But I'm really excited, Mary, what you're doing in the space for two reasons, not only for saving the animals, but the environmental side of things. For many of us, when you get your supplements, you do end up with just bottles and bottles and bottles. And because many of these you're taking every single month or you're taking for like a 6 month period, for a significant amount of time, that's a lot of bottles. And, most of the bottles aren't even completely full. So you even think about, usage of it. So I'm really excited that you found a way around that. Can you talk about how you figured out that solution, how you put that
Uh,
together? Because I know sometimes, you know what I mean? We all want it to happen, but actually sourcing it and making it happen on a grand scale and consistently is not easy as an entrepreneur.
yeah, that was really challenging, Stephanie. It was crazy when we started thinking about packaging and we started seeing all the options. Like I would say 90% of the options were plastic, and then maybe 10% were glass. And glass, like is more sustainable than plastic, but it takes 400 years to decompose. So it's
Hmm.
still not like the best solution. And it has, a lot of issues also. So we started like looking for biodegradable packaging. What is out there? What can we access? And we ended up manufacturing like these tubes that are made with cellulose, and they are fully biodegradable, and they are industrially compostable, even like home compostable. We've been doing like some tests, and it takes around 3 months to decompose if you just bury them, in your garden or
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. Yeah. We're still working and trying to optimize our packaging, but I think it's been like a great journey of learning and understanding this space, because the sustainable packaging space is actually very complex.
Yes.
Um, and like the main challenges we had was the first thing, like talking to all these manufacturers and asking them, is this possible? Is this like a optimal container for supplements, and researching and doing a lot of R&D to see if this was like a good enough optimal packaging solution for supplements,
Hmm.
uh, which is amazing. Like we do a lot of like shelf life tests, and it's been performing incredibly well. So we've been very fortunate, because it was like almost like a bet we were putting there, like, okay, let's see if this works or not.
Hmm.
um but like with the help of like packaging experts and like people in the industry, we came up with this solution. the next challenge we found is, okay, we have the packaging, we love it, it's great. The next challenge was, okay, who's going to pack this product? Because
Yes.
normally a 3PL, which is this company helping like with all the, or a
Yes.
co-packer, they
Co-packer.
would
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
their own machines, and normally they are made for plastic containers. So when we
Yes.
came up with these tubes, they were like, oh, we can't do that. Like we
Mhm.
don't have equipment, we don't have the machines. So we had to figure out a way of packing everything ourselves. So we have our own warehouse in Fort Collins in Colorado,
Oh,
and we do
nice.
packing and we do everything in-house. But that means more investment,
Yes.
more operation hassles, and more,
Yes.
like it was more challenging for us to put together this product. These days, we actually use like these pouches.
Mhm.
Um, so because we sell this product as a subscription, we send these pouches so you can refill the bottle every month. And these
That makes
pouches
sense.
they are more sustainable. They are more convenient if you want and better for the environment. So that's really great. But every single aspect of our packaging is being so well thought. Like we send like notes or messages to our customers with like seed paper, that
I
is
love it. I
like
love it. I love it. Yeah.
you get so we take. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like when you're so mission driven, like every single thing you do is built based on your mission. And
Yes.
yes, it's more expensive. Yes, it's more difficult, but we are willing to take the extra mile to build this product in a way that is very genuine, authentic, and transparent, and good for the
Yeah.
environment and the animals. So we are
Absolutely.
absolutely determined to go in that direction.
And I love that you're doing that because I think that's what happens for a lot of us is we have the idea, the concept, and then when we start building the business, we start trying to roll that out. We find out, just like you said, okay, great idea, but we can't send it to a co-packer because all of their machinery, their entire process is built on the standard way of doing things. So, disrupting the industry is not just the idea of your business. It's not just what you prepare. What also has to happen is the entire supply chain around it. The
Yeah,
systems that are used to maintain it and allow a business to scale and grow have to be different. Or, like you said, it takes additional investment because now you have to have your own warehouse. You have to have your own solutions for it. And I think as many people are listening here that are entrepreneurs, I want to give them maybe some insight into how do you keep going when you bump into those challenges? Like when you come up with a solution, you're all excited, you're like, yes, this is going to be great. And then when you have to rely on, systems or the way things are done before, it almost kicks it back and you have to come up with a new solution or, invest further in your business to get your dream to soar. Any thoughts on how do you stay resilient and how you've worked through those challenges in your business?
well, I suppose like a lot of people resonate with these, but you just you just carry on, and you go on, and you just don't. I I was talking to this investor one day, and he was like, when we hear like the founders of a company are long distance runners, or like they do like long distance races, stuff like that, we really like that because we know they are resilient. And that's exactly who I am, right? Like I run like 100K in the mountains, like it's very crazy. So I'm used to that type of like resilient mindset where I know things change all the time. So I'm facing this problem. I know in a week it's going to be maybe going up, like good news, something amazing is happening, and then we'll get into another bump on the road. And, is always having this positive mind, be very focused on the important things, keep positive, and know that things will change and will change again and will change again. And also to be conscious that building a business is almost like solving like a series of problems all the time. You're a problem solver all the time. And there's always a solution. So don't give up, like don't give up, don't desperate, because there's always something you can do about it. Um, And I think your attitude and your mindset is so key to just
Yes.
continue and keep building and keep working on it and keep, yeah, keep on going like forward. I don't know how to explain it better,
No,
but
it's
that's my
perfect.
mindset. That's my mindset. So funny, my previous company, I made like these marks with the message, stay
Mhm.
positive, stay focused, because for me that's the two keys, right? Like just focus on the important things, don't get distracted by
Yeah.
anything else, and just stay positive because there's always a way. There's always a solution.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Yes, because there sometimes it can feel overwhelming because there are so many problems to solve, but the better and better you get at solving problems, the next one does get a little bit easier, because you start to build this track record of being a solution maker. And I think that's one kind of exciting thing about being an entrepreneur. And I know, like you said, it definitely takes some resilience and that positive attitude. So I'm so glad that you shared that with us as well. Now, before we
Mhm.
started the interview, you were talking about some new projects and campaigns that you were working on, especially to not just change the industry from the work that you do, but change the industry overall. Do you want to give us a little bit of background on that campaign that you're working on?
Yeah, of course. As a mission-driven company, we don't only care about like, our products or business, if you want. We also care about our mission and how can we accomplish that. So we've partnered this nonprofit called Animal Safe Movement, and we've put together this campaign that is making a petition to the FDA to include a section in supplement facts labels indicating the use of animal derived ingredients in supplements. And we just reached like 5,000 signatures recently, which was our first
Congratulations. Yeah.
milestone, and we're so excited. And now we need to get to the 10,000, and eventually we will need 25,000 signatures to actually pass the petition officially. So we are working on that, and it would be amazing if people could check it out and maybe sign up. Um, they can just type transparent label campaign, and they will see like a web page, and it will give instructions on how to sign up. But it's really like way of empowering consumers. I loved what you were saying at the beginning of the interview about empowering consumers to understand what is in their supplements, right? At the end of the day, this is what we're doing here.
Yes.
Not just like forcing, if you want, companies or brands to indicate the use of animal derived ingredients, but for consumers to go to a shop and see, okay, like I want to know if this is vegan or not. A lot of brands decide to use like a vegan certification or something to indicate they're not using animal derived ingredients, but like it's only like a few companies doing that. So in
Yes.
this way, this could go in every single supplement facts label, in every single supplement product. So I think it would be amazing if we could pass the petition.
Absolutely. And if you send us the link afterwards, we'll make sure we drop it in the show notes and we'll make sure
Yes.
that people can access it so that they can share it out there with everyone. So, maybe one thing we should do, I know when a lot of times people are listening to these sessions, they get excited. They do want to see the products. They want to see, the packaging, or maybe somebody's in the market for some vitamins and supplements and so forth. So, if someone's looking for Terraseed, can you give them websites, social media, email? What's the best way to get in touch with the company?
Mhm. So if you go to terraseed.com, you will see like, our products. They can find information about like the formulation and the ingredients we use, and if they are like if this product is a right fit for them. Also in Instagram, we are Terraseed dash because we couldn't find like Terraseed.
Yeah,
But at Terraseed, if they just type Terraseed, it will show up, and same in Facebook. And they can also find me in LinkedIn if they look for Maria Cebrian Fernandez. And I can also share the link with you,
perfect.
Stephanie, and just put it in the show notes.
Oh, great, great, great. So, as we're wrapping up today's session, I always love to wrap up with some inspiration, especially for our entrepreneurs out there. And I know you gave us a little bit of insight with the idea of staying positive and focused, but especially for someone who has ran multiple businesses, who's been
Mhm.
through the process of building it, selling a business, starting over again, and so forth. Do you have any advice for anyone out there that is kind of struggling in those beginning phases of running their business, or they had to pivot and they were kind of surprised by it? I think often what I find from a lot of people who are listeners to our podcast is they hit obstacles, they have some challenges, and they love to hear from other people what they've done, how they've maneuvered around it, or just like the name of the podcast, how they've pivoted in those scenarios.
I truly believe that a company or a startup is an extension of who we are. It's almost honestly, we are absolutely connected. I'm very spiritual in that way. So my recommendation is that you build something that is 100% aligned with who you are as a human being. Because if there's no alignment, I think when you start bumping into all these challenges, all these issues, this is really hard. This is brutal,
Yeah.
honestly, especially when you do like a physical product. So if it's not 100% aligned with you and you have like a very clear mission that you can hold on to, it's going to be very difficult. So my recommendation is that you build something that you feel very proud of, that is totally connected to who you are, and that you can sort of like find that strength when things go wrong and things. I've gone through a lot of problems. It's not like I'm super successful. No, like
Mhm.
my co-founder left when like the first year
Mm,
in business, and like I've gone through a lot of issues, but I've always felt this is the right thing for me. This
yes.
is part of me, and that gave me so much strength that I think that's been the key.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much for taking the time today to give us a little bit of insight into not just you and your approach, but the business that you built and why you're building the business and the work that you're doing, by partnering with, another nonprofit, the work that you're doing to kind of change the industry and create that transparency for all of us. I think it's just wonderful. And it's such an attestment to not only who you are, but the fact that you're showing up as a vegan that's not just trying to, you know, fix the sustainability issues that we have in this industry, save animals, but also kind of be an advocate for us out there as customers and consumers. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your kind words.
Absolutely.
It means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't forget, everyone, please, please, please go to the website, check out terraseed.com, follow on Instagram, Facebook, and definitely connect with our guests, Maria, on LinkedIn. And for anyone who joined us live, I know, Elsa, you weren't able to stay for the whole interview, so I'll make sure I drop a link for you. But anyone else who joined us live, thank you so much for supporting us, always showing up, posting comments and questions. It's always, always welcome. And for any of you who listen to this as a replay, let us know if you have any questions. Always post them. We'll make sure we get them back to our guests. And for my podcasters out there, once again, thank you so much for listening to today's session. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you in our next interview. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Stephanie.